Tonight we're going to be talking about Russia, and personally, I'm excited, and I hope all of you are as well. Let's just go over a brief and concise history of Russia before we begin. So in the 9th century, the first state of Russia was established by the Scandinavians. And then the Tsar reign happened from 1547 to 1924 with the fall of the Romanovs in the early 1920s. Joseph Stalin took office in the 1920s, and the USSR was then established. In February 1990, the USSR Central Committee got rid of a constitutional clause that gave full reign to the USSR, and the Communist Party fell. Then in 1991, Russians were allowed to then immigrate, and in May 1991, many came over here to the United States. And what better way to get to the nitty-gritty of it all than going to Russia? So we sent our own Jared Nunley to St. Petersburg. And here we are now with Field Facts with Jared.
Hi Sarah, I'm out here in St. Petersburg, Russia. I apologize for the lack of microphone issues. We're having technical difficulties. But I'm out here and the Russians are celebrating Orthodox Easter, and they are excited about it. Much of what they're doing is they're going to the markets and they're purchasing a lot of meat products, and such as chicken and goose. However, due to the restrictions this year on imports and due to the world conditions, more and more of the Russians are having a hard time finding and they have to rely on more on the local meats as opposed to the imports that they usually have. But much of what's happening right now is that there's a really high prevalence of hypertension. So what the government is trying to do is encourage the locals to have more more vegetarian diet, or introduce more of vegetables into their diet. However, due to the lack of arable land in Russia, it's very hard they have to rely on imports, which tends to drive up the prices, and it's already hard. So much of what Russians do is more rely upon meats and high in carbohydrates. So there's still that area of prevalence of hypertension that's killing a lot of Russians. And with over 71% of Russians having hypertension, it is really a prevalent disease. However, they're still, despite that, they're still joyous, and of course, there's still lots of vodka and celebrating around the table.
Now we have Jared Nunley in the studio. Jared, what was that trip like in St. Petersburg?
Really cold, Sarah. Okay. And on top of that, after we got done filming that segment, Igor, our guide, was taking us on a trip downtown. So we're heading down the highway, and then up beside us pulls this Audi with 3 Russian teenagers bumping, like a Russian techno. But guess what's riding shotgun?
I have no idea.
A freaking leopard with a gold chain. I'm like, are you serious? And Igor's like, wait till you see Pet Better, my friend. And I was like, no, I'm good on that one. But
do we have a clip of that, actually? No? Okay.
I didn't
Sorry,
get it.
folks.
I
thought
apologize.
We had a clip.
But
that would have been good.
Yes, but I'll besides the fact that what I didn't catch due to technical difficulties of the camera cutting out was hypertension is the main kind of health crisis going on in Russia right now, where over 70% of men have hypertension, 50% and 30% of children. And as you know, as nurses, that hypertension is a silent killer. So a lot of Russians are dying young, and that's it's a travesty. Along with decrease in temperatures, we have an increase in tuberculosis, AIDS, and just a general outbreak of infection, which is overloading their health care. And then also, too, a main problem is depression and mental health. Under the communist regime, it was looked upon negatively, and they were kind of forced into really torturous tests.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they are very uncomfortable with talking about it, so you kind of have to coax in a non-judgmental manner in order to get that out of them, so that way it can be addressed, because clinical depression, along with their high prevalence to drinking alcohol and smoking, is
contributing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
so what can you tell us about their biblical worldview?
Their biblical worldview is much like ours. Under the communist regime, though, a lot of them are atheists. So a lot of the older generation are going to be atheists. But with the fall of communism in Russia, or the USSR, now it's Russia, you have a resurgence of the Orthodox Russian religion, and so a lot of the younger generation is starting to go back towards that.
Oh, wow.
So their biblical beliefs are much like ours in certain ways, where they believe in God, that they believe that their health is out of their hands and that it's in God's hands. However, where it differs from ours is that they believe that if they're going to get healed, it depends on the amount of faith that they have. Where, as opposed to where we are, we know that you can have a strong amount of faith but still get sick because there's something that God's doing, and so ultimately it's in His hands. So that's kind of where it differs. But they're very they do believe in that
Higher power.
Yes, the higher power, exactly.
So you enjoyed your trip overall?
Overall, it was a great trip, Sarah. I had fun. I can't wait till the next segment on Thailand, where I get to go eat Thai food.
Yeah, I think all of us are excited for that segment.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Thank you, Jared. Now to the culture corner with everyone's favorites, Kayla and Jane.
Every time, Jane.
I know, Kayla.
Every morning, you just get so into the
I
music.
love that song.
It's
love
amazing.
That song so much. I love our segment. Am I allowed to say that? I love our segment. I love our segment. So good morning, everybody. And by everybody, I mean you.
Today we'll be talking about the Russian culture. Everything Russian.
It's so interesting. We've done so much research in the past week, and it's been fascinating.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Communication is the first, and their main language is English, but their official language is Russian.
So very similar to our own culture here in America. Very
Except
similar.
the elders do speak a mix of English and Russian.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
If they migrated over here.
Mhm.
Okay.
They use a lot of nonverbal cues,
Oh.
and they kind of take that as the warmth and love comes from the dialect.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
And then between men and women, or men and men, they kiss and shake hands when they greet each other, and then women do the same with other women.
They're very loving culture, it seems.
Yes,
very
they
loving.
are. They also believe that God is in control,
I love that.
and they believe that illness, if it does happen, then it is a punishment from God.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense because 75% of Russians are Russian Orthodox Christians. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Kayla.
that does. It definitely does.
It really does.
Their stature and skin color are
Very similar
Very
to that of white
similar.
Americans.
very, very, very similar.
Very.
And then, along with the nursing implications, because we have been nurses for 35 years, Jane.
So, we've been nurses for so long, Kayla.
Such a long time.
We still learn every day. But a long time. We have a lot of experience.
So with the Russians, they really enjoy having a warm and friendly and inviting nurse because they want to they like getting feedback from the nurses. So if you as the nurse tell them what they want, what they need to do,
Yes.
then they will follow the care and
You
be
have
really,
to be
really
direct.
compliant with them. Yeah.
Yes, very direct nursing is what you want to do.
We also need to be involve the entire family with the care,
Yes.
but they do tend to go towards the male side for the big decision making.
yes.
So we kind of need to involve the dad or the grandpa or whatever male is present there.
Yes. Agreed.
So Jane, we like to be this close to each other. That's kind of how the
This is
Russians
good
are.
for you and me.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they're in
Okay.
the friend zone
Yeah.
or when they're talking to close family members.
Yeah.
But then when they're with their spouse, then there's an intimate zone that they like.
Okay, so there was this man on the subway, like 2 days ago. He was just breathing down my neck the
Ugh.
whole time. And we were just standing there. It was crowded. It was a
Mm-mm.
crazy day.
That would
And
not happen.
It
with
would
me.
not. It would
Nope.
not. No.
I don't like it.
No.
Mm-mm.
It was terrible. That no Russian would have liked that. So Russians are also very past, present, and future oriented. They have all three things going for them.
That's nice.
But they are very they're very reluctant to get any type of preventative measure.
Maybe that's why they have such a high incidence of hypertension.
Maybe though.
Because they don't
That
treat
could-
their obesity.
Makes a lot of sense, Kayla. Makes a lot
20% of
sense.
women are obese in Russia, and 11.8% of men are obese. So maybe if they did more preventative measures, then they could decrease.
Their incidence would decrease
Mhm.
significantly.
So now let's talk about the social
Family
organ-
aspect of it all.
Yeah, They're very family oriented. They often live together
I love
with
that.
grandma and grandpa, kind of like Americans do. But they're very independent too, which is kind of interesting to have that family aspect and also
Be very independent.
Be independent.
Very interesting.
They are very hardworking as well, and then women spend a lot of time in the home. They are equal with men in their culture, but the women spend over 100 hours a month
Wow.
in their home.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the equality. Love the equality
Oh, you
in the
do?
Russian culture. Yes, I do. Alternatives to medicine that Russians partake in include they can wear necklaces that usually are thought of to ward away diseases.
Like the amber necklaces, they are so trendy right now.
They
I just
are very
love them.
trendy. It's a little bit like that, but a little.
Oh, okay.
So, but they do use amber, Kayla. They use amber. They take the amber and they mix it with hot water and they make a potion type thing.
Wow.
Yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they use that to treat diseases as well. That they like upper respiratory infections or pneumonia.
Oh,
They
cool.
use it for that. So they also take hot, very hot, steamy baths, or they like to do mud baths, which I
I've never tried a mud
I
bath.
haven't either, Kayla. I think that's something we should do.
We definitely should
we
do
should
it.
do that. So they also they used to go to barbershops. I know, it's very odd. I would never think this. Or these people called charm men, and they practice the cupping
Oh,
technique.
is it painful?
I don't really know. I've never had it done, but I can tell you what it is.
Please.
Okay, it is large bulging shot glasses that are heated and placed up and down the person's back, right? So it causes bruises,
Right.
and you leave them on for 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and they are thought to remove the evil humors of the body. So it rids the body of infection and disease. So they practice a lot of that. They really love their health. It's very important to them. So health is a very big, huge gift from God. And I think we can all learn a lot from the Russian culture.
I agree.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you everybody for joining in today.
Yes, thank you.
We just love having you here.
We love our segment.
We do love our segment.
Thank you for joining us on Nursing News Central. We'll see you next time.